Well, hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Right, so today I'm gonna show you guys a very brief quick clip that I did with 3-star Void against Sorcerer Supreme, because many people have been asking me about the best counters, and when you suggest somebody the best counters, and then obviously the immediate answer is, oh, I don't have him ranked up, or I don't have him past max out 4-star, or whatever. First and foremost, obviously there are far more counters than you can initially think and realize. Any champion with decently high damage output can actually do Sorcerer Supreme fight, especially if you can slow play it, if you're decent at intercept, and there is that skill level discrepancy. However, also, if you do not happen to have many high-ranked champions, you are definitely capable of clearing this boss rush. Therefore, I will be uploading a couple of fights here and there. Possibly I will upload a full run with 3 stars if I do manage to do it itemless, because I have actually finished it with 3 stars. But I did spend a rebuy, which kind of annoyed me because it was a silly mistake and actually interaction that I didn't understand at first. But anyways, enough of that. So hopefully there will be some more cool fights coming on the channel in the boss rush. But right now we're going to be taking a look at how Void as a 3-star can deal with Sorcerer Supreme. Right, so the node combination here is actually quite tricky, especially when you use low health pool based champions, because one of the trickier nodes here is the Shatter, because every time she nullifies a buff, Void takes 1300 direct damage, and obviously using 3-star, that really is noticeable. And the goal to avoid that is to prevent her from throwing level 1 as much as possible. So that is kind of like the ideal goal objective. Now, there are a couple of things that are going to be helping me a lot in this fight, and especially since I'm using Void with Suicide Masteries. And that is the fact that you can dash back twice and trigger Disorient debuff, which you can use for willpower healing. In addition to the fact that when she throws special attack in her Fury attack phase, she places an armor break on me, which gives me another debuff for willpower healing. But again, you guys can see that I took that 1300 damage, and that took like 18% of my total health away quite immediately. But with Void, obviously the main goal is to get the Petrifies up and Fear of the Void, and then you can not only just prevent her from gaining any power, but you can also reverse her power gain. So if you manage to bait out enough heavy attacks and be active enough, and that is the strategy here with Void, then you can basically make sure after a certain point she pretty much never reaches a bar of power, and at that point she can pretty much never use a special attack again, and then it becomes a very different straightforward fight. This node combination with Arc Overload obviously also actually helps you out, because you do get to reverse that region and deal quite significant amount of damage to help out 3-star with his damage output. You can see I took another 1300 in my face from that nullification. It hardly matters if you're using like maxed out 5 stars, but 3 stars immediately it's like 10+% of your health gone. So you do need to be careful about that if you're using underranked champions. But other than that, again, the only real issue with this fight is that aspect of evolution and the fact that it's gonna make you take a lot of block damage. Therefore, that is something you want to avoid. You do not want to block the hits. Now, the strategy that I'm using here is it's kind of like an alternative playstyle to intercepting, and it's when you stop short and immediately go into your block, and then you can often lure opponent into throwing a heavy attack without actually them hitting in your block. It's a very useful strategy that I have used for ages. I actually have a video on it explaining exactly how you can achieve that and how you can force basically opponents to throw heavy attacks even when they do not get to land a hit in their block. And that's very helpful here if you do not want to risk too much on intercepts. Now, I do land some intercepts here and there, but I find it to be riskier in this kind of like marathon level fight. And yeah, I'd much rather stick to forcing her, throw those heavies, and with that, just having a free window of opportunity to punish her. As I mentioned in my guide, any champion that gives you alternative opening in this fight can be a very great champion. So for instance, Apocalypse with 4 charges is wonderful, because you can bypass her block and you can just hit through it, and you can get openings like that. Works fantastic. Also Mole Man, because of his unstoppable, you can force her, well, to hit in your block, and like that you can go unstoppable and punish her immediately, and then you have huge damage output. Mole Man can nuke this fight down. But in general, basically any champion that can find an alternative way of striking her and has decent damage output should be good enough in this fight. So as I'm talking, we are about 145 hits in. We have Fear of the Void active and everything else is happening in the background. She's at like 13% health. I am sticking at around 70%. I am trying to trigger that disorient debuff on purpose as often as I can. And now I'm just kind of like slowly waiting it out. And the fight is over. And that is about it for this clip. And yeah, it's not the most straightforward fight, definitely. It involves a bit of practice and took me a couple of attempts to get it down first. But once I kind of like got in the rhythm, I did that fight like 3 times in a row with obviously varied amounts of damage taken in block. But overall, you can definitely do this entire event quest using like 3-star, 4-star champions and with hardly any items, if any, perhaps throw on a boost. But you just need to put in research, you just need to practice a bit. And remember, this quest is here for another 2 weeks. If you see yourself dying in this quest, rather than just trying to brute force your way through, perhaps it's better to back out, watch a couple of videos, watch a couple of guides, practice. It's only 1 energy per tile, so you can do it like 10 times in a row. And yeah, there's no point in wasting units or revives unnecessarily on this. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. A very brief, small little kind of snippet of a fight, I suppose. And yeah, that is about it. And I'm going to catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about